The advent of film schools in the United States in the 1930s has created a total misconception in people who end up directing movies as to what their training should be, what it entails ultimately, and what's its effect on the product that they make. Every one of them would say, well, a director in doing a film has a totally different outlook on what he has to do. It's a totally different experience than what somebody is doing when he's directing a play for the stage. Unfortunately, this is absolutely wrong. Both of these elements of human endeavor have one thing and one thing only they're trying to do, and that is present a narrative history of the human race in one situation or another in a way that it vibrates to an audience's actual tuning fork of what human experience is. Now, we started these lessons with one recognition that what you have to do when you're going to be a director is answer two questions. What am I supposed to do? And how am I going to do what I'm supposed to do? All of the previous time and all the lessons done so far have been to show a director, primarily for the stage, all of the things he has to do to find out for himself when he's dealing with a piece of material in a play form, which is to be presented on a stage, how to find out what it is that I'm supposed to do. And then we were able to go to the second question that every director has. How am I going to do what I'm supposed to do? The majority of the work in these lessons has been in solving that first question. What am I supposed to do? And that is because what we want to do is to show human beings something about the human condition which is equivalent to their experience of the human condition. When we can do that, then a stage play's presentation is fulfilling for the audience. Now, the problem with film schools is that they don't really teach that. What they're concerned with is cameras and lenses and types of shots and pans and zooms and tracking and other kinds of mechanical things which they're using to try to capture something. But the preparation for a film director should be absolutely as stringent as it is for the theater director. He has to know psychologically every single reality in the material that he is going to be trying to present on screen. You can read many current directors talk about what their job is. That is not the significant thing that they talk about, although that is the significant thing that they have to do. To the degree that you can see many films, there seems to have been no preparation in the beginning of what is to be there. Much of it is, I get on set, I have these actors, I have a sense of what the story is about, and we go from there. We make it up as we go. This is why, in my sense, every one of the movies is over budget. In other words, if the director was accurately prepared at the beginning to know what it is that he has to do, he wouldn't be wasting time, effort, and money shooting things that don't get in the film and that don't get seen by the audience. All of the mistakes that are made in hours and hours and days and sometimes weeks of filming quite often come from the fact that the director simply didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what the answer to that question, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Indefinite means, indefinite reality, indefinite description was. The second part of a director's concern is, once I understand every physical, emotional, psychological, and sensory reality of the material which I'm going to present and its effect on other human beings in their capacity to recognize themselves and other human beings appropriately, every bit of the work to find out and do that is exactly the same for a film director. Why would it be different? Now, what is different? What is different is the answer to the second question, how am I going to do what I'm supposed to do? That's the difference. The main difference in how am I going to do what I'm supposed to do is dealing with focus. On stage, you have to do various things which were covered in the last lesson about how to control focus for an audience of live people sitting and watching live people on a stage. How can you make the audience look where you want them to look? Now, that is immensely easier in film. Why? Because every shot from every camera has one purpose and one purpose only: to include in that shot everything that's important to the narrative and nothing that's not important to the narrative. So the audience only gets the already edited version of reality, leaving out in that shot all of the other things that human beings are doing, walking their dog, milking a cow, whatever else, because this is a man who's being hanged for something he didn't do. All the attention to shot, all the attention to angle, all the attention to zoom, all the attention to tracking, all the attention to all of the tools have one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to control the focus of the audience so that they only see the things that a director has determined are beneficial, that this story, having been seen by the audience, can be digested. Everything else fetishizes shots, fetishizes lighting, fetishizes everything else thought to be the elements of the cinematic territory. These are tools to tell the story. That is their one purpose and their only purpose. And anybody who thinks about any movie that they've ever seen, pick any movie, you will rarely find one not full of shots, not necessary for the movie, angles, not necessary for the movie, lighting manipulations, not necessary for the movie. The tools become fetishized. These are not toys. They're tools for one purpose and one purpose only.
If you have seen some of Leone's westerns, he shoots a close-up of one character. Nothing changes in the character's psyche or behavior, and yet you're stuck looking at that close-up for an inordinate amount of time. Why he lingers on these close-ups makes no sense whatsoever, because you do not get any information that's different from what the initial information of the close-up gives you, because the behavior of the character who is in close-up at that moment does not change.
The tools become fetishized. What is different on a high magnitude between what a director does in a movie and what a director does on stage is what the director has to deal with the producer. Because to produce something on the stage is immensely simpler than producing something in a movie, with location shooting, with the 8 million financial obligations to do this on this day, to that on that day, to be in Toronto on Tuesday, and not still be in Toronto on Thursday. Those are all not the province of the director. They're the province of the producer. to create a narrative on the stage about the human experience for people to get it and for people to understand it, to be moved by it, to be taken somewhere, to be forced to face themselves in the recognition of all humanity. There are tools that have to be done in that realm to do that on the stage. To do the same story, the exactly same story in a film, you just use different tools. That's it. There's nothing else. Now, it is true that you have to know how to use the tools, but the preparation for the director should be exactly the same, and it proves in all the motion pictures that are available to watch, the majority of whom for the past 50 years are full of things where the people didn't know what they were doing. And they're full of shots that are unnecessary. And they're full of angles which are to show off the angle, not to tell the story. That's fetishizing. So this is not a great realm when you're dealing with the motion picture. That is totally different. And oh my God, someone who's done a stage thing before couldn't do a movie. We have a whole different realm. That's all bullshit. You have exactly the same problems to do. You just are using different tools to do it. Now, thankfully, one of the best elements of film production is that the films stay around for a while. We can see what has been done in the past, even if it's not being done in the present. Probably the greatest history of filmmaking was done from the beginning of the 40s to the beginning of the 80s. In that 40-year period, great directors prepared themselves fully to answer the question, what is it that I have to do? And they had studied the tools of filmmaking to be able to answer the question, how is it that I'm going to do what it is that I'm supposed to do? A question certainly may be asked, how is it that we know what Fred Zinnemann did? How is it that we know what Billy Wilder did? How is it that we know even what Alfred Hitchcock did? We know it because we can see the films. The high level of accomplishment in the films shot between the 40s and the 80s shows us that the people shooting them not only knew what they were doing, but were also aware of the reality that nothing shot on film is worthwhile if it does not show us moments in human experience, lives in human experience. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for anybody to shoot any film which does not mirror to other human beings what it is that it's like to be one. Since over and over and over, through hundreds and hundreds of films shot loosely in that 40-year period, prove, since the films cannot make themselves, that the directors knew what they were doing. They could answer the question, what is this human reality in this story that I'm supposed to tell? And then they could answer the question, how is it that I'm going to tell that story? In the following example, we will discuss the elements in a very simple opening of a movie where a director tells you a great deal of information and puts you through recognizable human experiences that are just in the opening credits of the movie. Especially at awards times in Hollywood, everybody's great. Oh, they're great actors, they're great directors, they're great producers. Everybody is great. If everybody is great, why do most of the movies in current reality fail? Fail to tell us what it is to be a human being. Fail to put us through experiences that show us what it is to be a human being. Well, following is an example where that is not the case. What we're going to do is stop and start and deal with High Noon. It's not a play, so why are we doing this? Well, it's because the director of the movie has to do exactly the same thing a director in a play does, which is present an experience to the audience that tells them something about the total experience that the evening is convened for. Okay, that whole first segment is, generally speaking, what would people call that? The titles or the credits,
Yeah.
right? That's what you would say in a cinematography class. Well,
Right.
these are the titles of the credits.
Right.
Except, do you remember anybody's name from any of the things that you read in the credits?
I remember seeing Gary Cooper.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Fred Zinnemann.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Tex Ritter,
Yeah?
the singer. Yeah.
Right?
And I'm not sure if I paid much attention to the. I was looking at the images a little more than reading the credits. Yeah. And
Now-
the song. The song took me.
Right?
I think the song really Took me somewhere. I love that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, showing the credits is just a mechanical kind of thing. In other words, these people worked on the movie, and we're going to show you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they show it at the end of the movie. A lot of times these days, long credits have gone for long after people have walked out of the movie house. But that's just like the acknowledgments in the first of a book. You don't take it as part of the book. So that could have been done against a flat black screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have had its mechanical contribution to the movie. It would have fulfilled its function of having the title and the credits up front.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies have them both places, front and rear. Now, you didn't get much out of the credits, so what did we have that time for? You're an audience member.
Well, it sets. It sets the mood, and I think
What's the mood?
the mood.
Don't try, as you're talking about it,
Yeah.
to do only with what you just saw, not your own knowledge of the movie.
Right. Sure. Well, I'm influenced by the song, and the song.
Sure.
Yeah. A melancholy, a longing, and a melancholy. That's what I got from the song. Whereas with the images that I saw of the cowboys was an anticipation of something to come.
Why do you
waiting.
say that?
Well, they seem to be standing there waiting, and then this other guy rides up, and so obviously they're waiting on him, and it seems like they're getting ready to do something.
Right.
Something of importance to them.
Why are they getting ready to do something?
Well, they're clearly waiting. It seems that they need all three of them. They're waiting for the third guy to arrive, and once he.
What do you mean they are waiting for
the two of them? The two guys.
No, that's not what happened.
Oh, okay. I was taking a little bit by the song, so I was in and out of the images.
What I'm trying to get at is what he has shown you. You know more than you think you know. It has bypassed your conscious brain and has gone into your psyche.
Mm-hmm.
How many men?
3.
At the beginning, how many men?
No, I'm not so sure if they're both initially there or if one of them is there. At first, at least the 2, and then the third arrives. But
Only one.
only one. Okay, so you get the one guy,
And then somebody else comes
then you have 2,
from one direction.
right?
And then another guy comes from a different direction.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a different direction from the second guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So what does that tell you?
was the first guy there from the start, if I'm correct? The 2 of them then wait on the third guy. So it's a meeting, right? It's a meeting spot for them.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to meet at this spot at such and such a time.
Now, when 3 people get together, having come there from different directions, at least 2 of which we know are different directions. We don't know if one guy came from one of those 2 directions, but we know that he came at a different time. So obviously they didn't come together.
Right.
They're meeting, but after that they leave together. Now, when do people do that?
When they have something important to do.
Yeah. When they're on some kind of a mission or some kind of mission, Mission Impossible has made the word mission, all ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they're on some kind of a quest or a mission, or they're trying to do something that takes all 3 of them. How do we know it takes all 3 of them?
Well, they made a point of meeting and waiting for each other, so obviously they felt like it takes at least 3.
Well, now how did any of them know to get there?
They obviously pre-planned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been some communication between the people that says at a certain time in a certain place, we're going to meet. Now, where are they meeting?
Out in the out on the trail.
Yeah, out. They're not saying by the bank
No.
in town
Out in the middle of
where
nowhere.
people might accidentally bump into each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they out in the middle of nowhere rather than, let's say, let's all meet at the saloon?
It seems to me that they want to make an impression on their arrival. They want to arrive together to wherever they're heading, which presumably is somewhat of a public place.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If 3 people say, look, middle of the day, let's meet
at a particular place,
Mhm.
and somebody says, where? You say, if somebody said to you, if I were here and you were here and Stephen were here, and I said, look, I want to meet you guys tomorrow at 2 a.m. on the corner of Wall Street and Nassau, what would you think? You know the financial district.
Yeah. It's like, well, why are we meeting there?
And why would you say that?
Because
What did I tell you that was?
such a specific location, Wall Street.
Well, it's always a specific
Yeah.
location, or else the people are not going to get there.
Well, that's true. Well, it seems that Wall Street, it means that there's something to do with some financial matter, you would think. In other words, we're meeting there because...
The crucial thing I'm trying to get at is at what time did I say meet?
In the middle of the morning, 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be like down there?
Deserted.
Nobody's going to be on the streets.
Right.
It'll be the three of us meeting in a deserted place
Mm.
at a time
Seems
when...
like we're up to no good.
Bingo. So the fact that they meet out in the middle of nowhere is so that other people will not see them
Come together.
come together.
Yeah.
Because then it looks like a conspiratorial thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we meet in town,
They see us waiting for each other. It's
it
already...
looks like
and
something's
it's already
going on.
attracting attention.
Right.
What are these
Now-
guys up to?
As we get into the story, we find out people know because as soon as they come in, somebody says, I just saw Ben Miller come in. Yeah, and Pearson Colby are with him. So they're guys who have been here before that are potential trouble for at least some of the people and who haven't been here for a while. So people will get all this whole sense of a conspiratorial thing subconsciously.
Mm.
They won't get it on purpose. In other words, they'll get, it's on your purpose, but they on purpose don't get it. All this is so far as the opening of the movie. It means nothing to them.
Right. And what I got is, okay, these three are up to something.
Yeah. You get the whole sense of what this is going to be about. A conspiratorial event of some importance that's going to take at least us three to do is going to happen. Now, they ride off together, but they don't go riding 90 to nothing, right?
No.
They're just riding at a normal horse pace. How come they don't go riding off all together like crazy?
How come they don't go flying, high speed?
Right.
I don't think that they want to alert attention.
Well, they're out in the middle of it. Nobody would see them.
They're not in a rush to get to where they're going.
Yeah. The thing
It's a
is
time
in the
frame.
future, but it's not imminent.
Right.
All of these things show you subconsciously that something's afoot. Instead of just having, a program because you got to tell people. Well, they had credits because you got to tell people. Well, he didn't do that. He says the people are watching this now. Already the experience has started. So I'm going to have the experience of the thing started. And so that they'll already feel and already know part of what's happening.
Right. Because he could have gone with just credits before.
Sure.
Before the movie where there was no action.
A lot of
where
times,
there was
have
no
you seen
images.
the Pink Panther?
Yeah.
All of those credits. Everybody loves and enjoys those credits.
Loves it.
So much that animation was then turned into a series cartoon
Right.
for kids.
Right. I mean, I remember being brought to those movies as a kid. and the credits was like one of the highlights.
I know.
Was maybe the highlight of the movie.
Why? Why are those credits that way? Because this is a comedy, and you're going to have a fool in it. By the way, when those movies started being about him, not the Pink Panther, but A Shot in the Dark and The Return of the Pink Panther and all those other things, they're not nearly as good. Because what the Pink Panther is about is stealing the diamond.
Right.
It's not about a stupid...
It's not about Clouseau.
Yeah, right. And when you make it all about Clouseau, it's just slapstick silliness. And his performance is worse progressively if you watch it. It's more phony as it goes. And the first thing, it seems like a guy, but who could be this dumb? The rest is he's playing a stupid, flopping fool. The humanity is drained out of Clouseau in the other movies. Impossible to watch because it's like the shell of a person trying to do funny stuff. In the beginning of the Pink Panther, it puts you in the mood. And here, not only in the mood, but it starts you on the story.
I'll stay
One horse,
focused on the action.
one guy,
Yeah.
smoking by himself. He happens to look up. He moves to make sure, do I see what I think I see?
Yeah.
Now you see that shot, you don't know who that is coming.
Right. No.
So he's looking to see if it is somebody coming who he wants to be coming.
Right. Coming from a very clear perspective. Now he's moving pretty fast.
So that means the appointed time of meeting is now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here. Now he looks around.
He's doing the same thing the other guy did.
Yeah. He looks around to see.
Anticipation, expectation.
Well, at least either somebody's watching us, or make sure nobody's watching us, or maybe somebody else is coming. Now there, see, that is the different direction. Because the other was the side of a hill going down. Now look what they do. They see who it is, they immediately go to the horses. So it lets you know nobody else is coming.
Right.
Okay, boys, we're all together. Here we go. Ready? All right. Now they go off, and now then you got this shot, which shows it's going to happen, but it's not imminent.
Not in there. Right.
You see, there's a great deal of information in that. They're coming by. Everybody else is going to church. They're not. Tells you something about their character. They didn't meet up to go hear the new parson.
So
Right.
if they went into church, you'd be like, oh my God, who are they going to shoot up in church? Yeah. He's scared shitless.
Yeah, he says, uh-oh, what's that? And he's going to tell somebody else
Those
that.
guys.
All right, now watch this. Ideas mío.
Woman crosses herself. Another guy looks scared as the three men roll by.
All right, what happened then?
Well, what happened just there is that one of the guys was becoming a hot shot, and the other guy said, "Cool your jets."
Yeah, but in what way?
Uh,
Close your eyes a second. You remember what you saw?
Yeah.
Did you see anything in the frame itself?
not that I can.
Did you see any sign of anything?
Yeah, Marshall.
Yeah, you do remember it. See?
Yeah.
You don't realize you remember it, but you remember it.
And so,
So
the
what-
guy was trying to antagonize the marshal, and the other guy
Well-
said, "Cool your jets.
Yeah.
We're not ready. It's not ready
it's not
for
that
that."
he's trying to antagonize him. It means that he has the impulse of their being there has something to do with the marshal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that by the church. He didn't do it by the guys who was fixing whatever piece of machinery that was. He didn't do it by the guy sitting in the buck wagon, right by the church. He just did it at the marshal's office.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, "What's the matter? What are you being a hothead for?" And he says, "Yeah, I am. I love it." The guy said, "Look, cool your jets. We'll have time."
Yeah.
That tells
Don't be in a rush.
So that tells you what?
That now we have a little bit more information that they're in town to do something with in
It looks
relation
like
to the
in
marshal.
relation to the marshal.
Yeah, something.
And the fact that everybody has been afraid of them, and we've shown that they're antagonistic to the marshal, it means probably the marshal has been antagonistic to them.
Yeah.
And who is the marshal antagonistic to?
Outlaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're
in other
setting
words,
up.
they're a criminal element of some
We're
kind.
setting up a confrontation. Yeah, with the criminal.
Well, we don't know if there'll be a confrontation, but there's a criminal element
Mm-hmm.
in their behavior
Right.
and in the way other people respond to them.
Yeah.
Don't forget, the way you find out who a character is what he says, what he does, and what other people say or do about him. So what we found out about them is through what the other people are doing about them, including the guy who says, where's the guy who says, "Oh, we're going to better open up, we're going to have a hot town tonight"? What is he outside of?
Saloon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same people who go to church are not the same people, even in a little town, who hang out in the saloon.
Right. So this guy could even be a little partial to these three guys.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't say, "Oh my God, it's going to be terrible.
Right.
I better not open the saloon. Somebody might be killed in there."
Yeah.
He said, "We're going to have a hot time tonight." Now, this is an interesting cut. What does that cut do?
Cuts to the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, what do you know about the wedding?
Well, I know. You mean up to this point? What I
Yes,
see
what'd
here?
you notice?
It's small. It seems to be
Yeah, it seems to be awfully small wedding.
homespun. Yeah. Maybe rushed wedding.
Well, all the people were pouring into the church. By the way, the majority of people, historically, for the last several hundred years that we know about, were wed through what? A religious exercise. They married in a church.
mhm.
Because the whole wedding thing, which got to be legal later in history, was a telling God that we are committing ourselves to each other as people. It was a sacrament of the church. He's not in the church.
He's in the marshal office, right?
Yeah.
So justice of peace
Yeah.
is presiding over the wedding, right?
Right. So what does that mean?
So that means that it is
He's
secular.
the marshal who's in the marshal office.
Yeah, and he's getting married.
Where's the rest of the town? What is a marshal in the town? He was a big man in town.
Yeah, he's
Why aren't they at his wedding? Why isn't he getting married in church?
So it maybe tells you he's not all that popular.
It's foreshadowing for what happens. His whole realm of people that wish him good are in that room. So when people see that, they don't know that they've gotten what I just said.
Right. They don't
But
say,
they
"Oh,
have.
look how unpopular that marshal is."
No. But they will get that subconsciously. Now, the important thing of looking through this is that's not an accident of the director who said, put this in a room at the Marshalls and have only 9 people in there. He's doing that because that's what the story's about. Because ultimately, you remember the story. He has to go against these 4 guys all by himself. Nobody in town will help him.
Nobody supports him.
And the judge says at one point, he says, "It's no time for a civics lesson now, my boy." In other words, everything that's been chosen here is to lead you to the story. It has to do with the story. It's giving you a lot of information about the story and about the circumstances.
And now there's a lot of juxtaposition because now he's juxtapositioned the piece of the wedding,
Right?
a joyous occasion, with these troublemakers. They're going to disrupt the peace. They're
It
going to
looks
disrupt
like
the
there's
wedding.
a threat.
Yeah, there's a threat. They're going to disrupt this wedding.
Or
They're gonna disrupt the
something's going
peace.
to happen that's, you got one thing that's peaceful. You don't know, by the way, yet that that's the marshal. You haven't been told it's the marshal. One surmises that's the marshal because they rode right past the marshal's office through that same window that they ride past Camera pans, and we pick up the
And I
people.
don't know if I noticed a badge.
Okay, now right behind his right shoulder on the wall.
Oh, a clock.
Now, you don't have to have a clock in the room when he's getting married. What does it have to do with it? Except time is going to be the big thing because the name of it is High Noon. And when you watch it, it's 20 minutes till 11 when they're getting married. So people won't pick that up, in other words, in terms of High Noon. But if you didn't have the clock on the wall, when you see the clock later all through the thing, it would have less significance. Just the fact that it's on the wall there, people pick up intuitively, psychically, but they don't know that they've noticed it.
Well, that let me know that that guy, who I think is the guy in the middle there, right? The guy that I thought was the leader of the three is the brother of.
No, the second guy who came is actually the brother.
Oh, is the brother? Okay. And so
the one whose horse reared up at the marshal.
Oh, that's the
office.
brother.
That's the brother.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, who are you going to have do that?
The brother.
The brother,
because he's
obviously.
emotionally
Yeah.
involved.
More emotionally involved.
He's
than the other
emotionally
two.
involved. Yeah.
The other two may hate the
He
guys.
can't wait to.
Exactly.
His guts are
Right. Because his brother was sent to prison.
So
Right.
that information there told us that these guys aren't from around here. They've come from, the three of them have come from afar to get here.
Yeah. And what does it do? It heightens the importance.
Mm-hmm.
If they said, I just saw Ben Miller. Another guy said, well, he just lives a mile down the street. Of course you see him. Then it wouldn't be important. He could just be anything. But he said, no, I thought he was in Texas somewhere. When you say somebody's in Texas somewhere, it means you ain't in Texas. And wherever they are in Texas, it's a long way away from you because it's a huge state. Okay, now why does he have to tell the names?
Well, now we get to know who they are, right?
Somebody's in the barber's office. He says, I thought that looked like Pearson Colby
Right.
and Ben Miller. We don't know if he's right or wrong. Now we know it's right.
Mhm.
Now, what are they asking about?
They're asking about whether the train is on time because they are expecting
What-
somebody
what-
on it.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously they have come there to meet somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's coming on the train. That's why they didn't do anything. That's why the guy told him don't rush when his horse reared up at the marshal's office. Take your time. Okay. We know the noonday train is coming. The guy saw the three people at the train station. He read something before they came up. You remember?
Yeah, he,
He said something. Oh my God, what is it? Oh,
Yeah.
This is terrible. And those guys show up, and indeed they are Colby Pearson, which means they're infamous in the town and so forth.
Mhm.
And there's always a reason for that. And we see from the other things that they're not infamous because they were the best mayors the town has ever had or anything like that. So we come to here, keep that juxtaposition going of danger, shows the old man running. The guy sitting on the porch doesn't know what's happening, but he says, boy, he's moving pretty fast for a Sunday. Again, heightens the sense of danger. He went running off past somewhere, we don't know where. Now, in here, does anything that we just saw tell you anything about the lead character?
well,
You don't know who's the lead character yet,
yeah,
but one would suspect that it has to do with the marshal.
right. Do you mean anything in the three guys or anything in the relationship?
No,
with
I
the
mean, in
girl?
this little scene, what did he just do?
Well, before he pulled her away from them. So
Yeah.
it seems like he's a very private man.
Yeah.
You know?
He's already let you know he's a loner.
Yeah.
So that the thing that happens late, other men would say, Jesus, nobody's going to help me. I'm just going to have to let them do whatever they want to do with it, protect myself, but I'm not going to go out after them. But he's used to dealing with things. So now when he deals with things as a loner, already this little scene helps you see that. First thing he says is, it seems like people should be alone when they get married. Now, most people don't feel that. That's a character element. Most people love the family and everybody around, and when they say, "Oh, I'm going to want to have a big wedding," they want all of the familiarity of the family and every friends around. This is a character element because, as we talked about before, character is shown by what is different from what people in general do. All right, he said, whatever he said, marriage, blah, 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 I'll try to do my best. And she says, I will too. Now, is there anything that you notice about the two characters in relation to each other?
Well, there seems to be a reluctance on his part. In other words, it seems like they are coming from two different worlds. When he says, I will try to do my best, it seems to me that he's going, this is a big change for him getting married.
Exactly. Now, what do you notice just by seeing the two people standing there? You notice anything? We describe characters by their size, by their ethnicity, by their age, by their shape. Is there anything you notice in this?
She seems to be very much a lady, very proper.
Right.
She seems to be in love with him, looking up to him.
Right.
And again, he seems to be a little like a fish out of water, a little nervous.
Right. How old is he?
He looks older than she does.
How old would you say he is?
I would say he is a man in his 40s.
About 40 anyway.
Yeah.
How old is she?
She looks like a woman in her could early 30s, could be even late 20s.
Yeah, it's probably mid to late 20s. All right. Now, when you're in the mid to late 20s, you say everything totally. Oh, I'll love you forever. When you're in the 40s and life changes you and you can't always fight life and it takes you different ways, you're not so pure anymore.
So you say, I'll try my best.
So he says, I'll try my best. And she says, oh, I will too, always. All right. Now that's already setting up. He's more realist and she's more idealist and romanticist.
Mm-hmm.
When you set up how a character behaves, it is so that later when they do the things they do, it grows out of a reality of who they are. Not just this is what they do in the plot next.
Because we're going to expect certain things out of him now.
That are different from the kind of things that you would expect from her.
Certain things from her. And we're certainly going to expect certain things from those three guys.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's talking about, he's interrupting the kiss.
Mm-hmm.
But what does he say?
The honeymoon is officially over.
Which is what?
Meaning now the reality.
That's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't do it intentionally, but the author has done that. That's foreshadowing. His honeymoon is over. He doesn't know it yet because he doesn't even know the guys are in town. But it is over. He doesn't mean it for that, but it has the implications across the board to the whole thing.
Right.
So this is what an author has to do. He has to write that line knowing that that line has a foreshadowing influence over the whole rest of the movie, not just the moment it exists now, although it's totally logical to the moment that exists now. And the actor who plays that should be appreciative of it, although he shouldn't play the foreshadowing part, because he's in no knowledge that he would purposely foreshadow.
But our psyche, although again we're not going to think, oh, that's foreshadowing something, but we'll get it. We'll get it psychically, right?
Yeah. He could say, oh, we're interrupted a big kiss. He could say a million things that don't have any foreshadowing effect. But a good author will have him say something which is right to the point of the moment, which is we're interrupting you, but that also has a foreshadowing effect.
Here's the badge. Made its appearance.
Yep. Because just a moment ago he said we're going to take off the badge. That's the other ceremony that he was talking about. He said one more ceremony to go through. He means putting down his authority. And he says, gee, I don't feel good about doing that. Now that's just in general. None of these people yet know that the three are in town. But he already has the kind of an impulse of a man who's rooted in reality, which is, gee, I hate to walk off and leave you without any marshal for the day. The guy who talks is a politician in the movie, so he talks like a politician. Oh, don't worry, we got it handled. Now, why does he do that? This is a blocking thing.
He puts his star, you mean, on his holster?
Why didn't he put it on the desk?
Yeah, it's like those two go together, right? So he puts
the power of the marshal is in the gun. The influence of the marshal is in the gun. It's not in the star. So that's a little blocking thing. He could have gone over and put it on the desk, which means I'm putting down the thing. Well, now he's blocked here to put it onto the
Holster right by the
holster
gun.
where the pistol is, because they go together psychologically. You can't be the marshal and tell everybody what to do and not have a gun when the other people have guns. What that's showing is he's putting down his power. He's putting himself in a position of vulnerability, personally, greater than he's been previously when he was the marshal.
Right.
So here, he's going and he's putting that there because that's the best place he can put it down. So it's not just, now I'm going to go off and be married. It's that by putting this off of me, I'm putting my power down with it. Now, who's this?
This is the guy that ran.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody will get that. Okay, what do you get from that sequence?
Well, you get that Marshall is leaving with very much a heavy heart, that he's not comfortable with leaving. They're
Right.
rushing him out to protect him.
Right.
In other words,
How do you know they're rushing? The other people rushed them out. Yes, we saw that
Yeah.
in their behavior. Hurry, get on the thing, get up. Then what happened?
well, the way they got on the carriage, and they so quickly,
Now, in the
Abel's
beginning, we saw 3 guys get together and then come to town.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you see how they came in. If you go at that pace, it means you're confident of what you're doing. You're confident that you have enough time to get there at this pace. Look what happens to them. They hear the noon train, the guy's coming in, boom, they get him, and he takes off like a bat out of hell in it. You couldn't ride that buck wagon any faster, it would fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're rushing to get away. What that does is heighten the threat level. It means that everybody in the room recognizes the threat to be of a heightened level. The thing that we saw before, where the horse reared up in front of the marshal's office,
Mm-hmm.
is now confirmed that it's about the marshal, because all of the friends at his wedding said, you better get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they're now in relation to the marshal. That's been confirmed. So that you see everything that's been done now is of a piece. There's been absolutely nothing done that's not part of everything else leading to what the story's about. There are no incidental moments that have happened. None. Not 1 second has been incidental. Things that the director makes happen. Again, when things are revealed to you in an art object, it is not a surprise.
Yeah.
It is a recognition of what you already know, but only on a psychic level.
Because I'm
And
reading his feelings. his
Exactly.
emotions, yeah.
The audience, when they see somebody who's really acting, gets what's underneath. They just don't realize it unless somebody stops and asks them. But they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he says the line, it's always a reiteration or a vindication of what they've felt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. It's not new information. Okay, now we didn't talk at the beginning. I meant to say 6 or 7 times. If you listen to that song, the song tells you the whole story.
Yeah, do not forsake me, oh my darling.
The noonday train will bring Frank Miller. If I'm a man, I must be brave, and I must face that hateful killer, or die a coward, a craven coward. So, at the beginning, you get the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't know that they've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody is going to listen to everything of a song. What takes you in a song is the mood.
Yes.
You don't listen to the lyrics. Each of these things is done totally on purpose by the director. Now, what would you say is the single element, the one line, what this movie is about?
Right. Well, if I could recap the story in my head just so I make sure. He is clearly left alone to fight these guys. No one is there to back him up. And the person that does end up backing him up is his wife.
Right.
Because she shoots someone, perhaps saves his life. Like you said, we don't know exactly how it would. Everybody backs out for their own purposes, for their own reason. It's all very self-serving. Everybody's worried about their own skin.
Right.
He's in it because of a moral code that he has, that he doesn't run away from his own messes. And with the realistic knowledge of, you can't run away from this because he's just going to be followed. So it's either face it down now, or face it down on a terrain that maybe is even worse. Because,
Right.
like as he points out, some of the themes are, I almost want to say that if you want to get something done, do it yourself. That comes to mind.
That's what it is. Now, it's a little more significantly dramatic
Right.
than that.
Right.
But if you take into consideration what it really means when you say, if you want something done, do it yourself, that if you want something done, something significant. And in this, what it's really saying is, in a moment of crisis,
You can rely on yourself,
you can only rely on yourself.
and that's about it.
Because at moments of crisis, most people don't have courage. So that's what the movie is saying. That people, throughout all history, certain people can stand up to moments of crisis. In general, people cannot. In general, people are swamped and overcome by moments of crisis. And only some people have the capacity to stand up to it.
And are those the people that have a certain moral fortitude,
Well, it's
or have an investment in the crisis? In a sense?
both. I think both. But what he's really saying is that the heroic adventure, to use the kind of terms that Joseph Campbell uses in Power of Myth, the heroic adventure can only be taken on by a hero. In other words, people generally can't do it. This is what this movie is about.
And the
It's not
hero is defined by,
the person who stands up to crisis.
so it's a unique individual.
Right. But if you took an existentialist point of view, for instance, any person is a hero who takes a heroic action. And he's a hero whether he gets killed or whether he kills all four of them.